Okay, welcome back for the final part of my look back at Play Expo 2019 in Manchester. And the first bit I'm looking at is the ZX Spectrum Next, which is the next evolution of the ZX Spectrum, as you might imagine from the name. Now I'm still waiting for the full box unit to come from the Kickstarter because that's still not quite ready yet. Yeah, I was going to say yes, there's a few bits to iron out here or there, but I'd rather they wait and get it 100% ready than send it out early, unfinished, and it would be Fallout 76. I played 3 games on the ZX Spectrum Next while I was there, and the first one I played was Baggers in Space, where you control the one and only gaming legend Jim Bagley, which is kind of like Jetpack but with extra rooms. On top of that there was Warhawk, which is like a classic vertical scrolling shoot 'em up. I also played a work in progress demo of Melchior's Mansion, which is the Spectrum Next version of a game that's been created for PC by Richard Jordan, with graphics by Craig Stevenson and music by Alberto Gonzalez. Kev Brady is doing the ZX Spectrum Next conversion, and Bob Smith is doing the ZX Spectrum 128K version. It's a tribute to Attic Attack and makes it into like an isometric 3D game, similar to games like Night Law and Alien 8 back in the day. When it's complete, even though people checking it out at Play Expo were willing to pay for it, it will be free. This is because Ultima owned the original rights and no one else is allowed to make money from it. I think they should at least be able to cover their costs, but anyway. I can also say that I've seen a preview for the design for Kev's project, which is to come after this, and that's the futuristic title Ice World. However, if I was to tell you any more than that, I would have to kill you. And I'd rather not do that because I have quite like a sand-coloured carpet, and if you had sort of like thick red blood on the carpet, it's all going to get a bit sticky and a bit gooey. My cleaner is absolutely going to do a fruit if that happens. So just don't ask me for any more details because I'm not giving them to you. There was also another bit of Spectrum goodness in an interview with Matthew Smith, the man behind Manic Miner and Jet Set Willy, and it was an interview with him and also part interview with the director of a new film. The director is Paolo Sant'Agostino, and the title of the film is something like Willy 48K About a Legend. It's a bit of a clunky title, but they showed the whole thing in full. I thought the guy said it was at like 14 minutes, but it's more like 40 minutes, and it's just basically an entire walkthrough of Jet Set Willy with some sort of bits of dialogue from people back in the day, as well as I think there's some more modern dialogue in it as well. It's a bit of a strange film, but it is basically an entire walkthrough of Jet Set Willy. But it's not just a straightforward walkthrough. It's sort of the director has taken each screen, and as Willy's walking through some of the screens, it sort of you see that screen sort of pull back and it goes much smaller, and then all the other rooms are around it. It's bloody incredible to watch. Now the interview itself was filmed, and I did think at the time, I hope that ends up on YouTube, and it is. The whole thing is on YouTube. I'll put a link in the video description below so you can watch that too. Now I made a few notes as things went on, and it was obvious that making Jet Set Willy was clearly not a good time in Matthew Smith's life, since he confirmed that he worked solidly for 8 weeks and then didn't even get paid for it. I mean, I'm laughing with incredulity. That it just beggars belief they didn't even get paid for it, and it's a game we're still talking about 35 years on. And I'll get to the sort of signings and photos later on, but I saw someone post up a picture of where they asked him to sign. Oh, I wish I had something for him to sign, but they asked him to sign their copy of Jet Set Willy, and he signed his name, and then he sort of wrote all over it saying, "I didn't get paid for any of this." Brilliant. And the guy's a genius. The guy's an absolute genius. He was asked another question which I didn't quite catch, but I know related to around the same time, and he just said, "My therapist advised that I shouldn't really talk about that time in my life." So it was starting to go down a bit of a dark path at that time. He was asked how he managed to make the game by writing it on the Tandy TRS-80 and then porting the code over to the ZX Spectrum. He replied that he had an electronics background, and that in those days, if you were using computers, you needed to know a bit about electronics just to keep the things going. So he was able to create an interface between the two computers that way. Someone also asked him about sequels to Jet Set Willy and what he'd got planned for those. He said he originally planned up to 5 sequels, and when asked which of them he'd like to make the most. He replied, all of them. He confirmed he didn't make any other games at the time because he didn't have the money to make them, and whilst also wanting to live, because you can't live on zero income. If he was to make any more now, then as well as wanting to make it ZX Spectrum compatible, that was when he was asked about would he make it just sort of solely for the Next. He said he'd actually have to fundraise a new game, and I was thinking, well, a lot of us were thinking, yes, please start a Kickstarter, we will back it in a second. When it came to the end of the whole thing, Matthew stepped down from the stage to sign things and have pictures taken with him. And I got some pictures with him, as I'll show here, and I was kind of hoping that Paolo, the director, get a picture with him as well. But he just seemed to leave quite soon after. I mean, everyone kind of swamped Matthew as he came off the stage, so maybe that's why Paolo didn't stay. I don't know. It just kind of all happened in a split second. Everyone swamped Matthew, and Paolo just seemed to exit stage left. Maybe that's what he was looking for. I don't know, but anyway, he's made a phenomenal film, and it's not going to go online just yet. He's going to tour it around a few festivals first. But if you do get a chance to see it, and you will do when it eventually comes online, but if you see it at any festivals beforehand, do go and see it. It's absolutely brilliant. So that was a Saturday, and then on a Sunday morning I was around the ZX Spectrum Next stand playing a few games, and after I kind of finished with that, I turned round and who was there? I didn't think he was going to be there after more than one day, but he was there again on the Sunday, and I only saw him in the morning, but he was there on the Sunday as well. Matthew Smith was back, and phenomenal. I got some more pictures with him as well. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's such a joy to be around, and he's a recluse. He's obviously a reclusive chap, and I mean, no one's really seen him for years and years and years. But I would say if he starts doing sort of the retro circuit, and if he starts appearing at other shows, if you run another show and you get the chance to book him, do. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a wonderful chap to be around, so definitely book him. And as you'll see here, sat on Matthew's lap is Alex, aka ZXWife on Twitter, and one can only say I am well gel. Who would not want to be sat on Matthew's lap? Giving him a great big hug. Well, maybe I can take things too far. I don't know. I still got to give him a great big firm handshake. I think on the Saturday and the Sunday, and just to shake hands with a man who just gave me pleasure for using my hands on the keyboard back in the day when I was playing those games. Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and please like this video and share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already, and click on the little bell to get all the notifications, and cue Genesis.